Hey y'all, it's 16-Bit Gander with my second video. For those who watched the first one, I showed y'all my process for animating a character sprite that utilizes PNG files from Sprite, but inside of the Godot engine. My goal for this video is to show you how to create a platformer tile map inside of Godot. Basically the background and foreground for your generic levels. So, to get started, I already have my project in Godot open, and I'm going to go to my scene, and I'm going to add a tile map layer. I guess the old version of tile maps that were mentioned in previous videos where I was learning is going to be depreciated and canceled at some point, but I know how to use a tile map layer, and that's what I'm going to show you all how to use. So, I brought it in, and I'm going to go over to the inspector tab, and I'm going to go tile set and click on the empty and choose new tile set. And then down here in this interface is open at the bottom of my screen. I'm going to click on tile set. Then I will go to the assets that I've made and are ready to go. And I'll bring in my platformer tile set. And I'll also bring in a couple other items to illustrate. What else you can do with the tile sets, mainly background items. So, clouds, upside down clouds, and mountains, and background items. Okay, cool. So at this point, if you wanted to, you could just go in and manually add what you want to the map. If you're so inclined, just select and then make sure you got the pencil icon selected, and you can just draw it in as you see fit. But if you're feeling a little bit more froggy, what you could do is you could utilize the AutoTile feature, which utilizes logic so you can just drag where you'd like the surfaces on your map to be, and it will select the proper tile type based on what's bordering that. So what I'm going to do with my platformer grass layer is I'm going to remove those two example pieces, and I am going to click back on tile set, and I'm going to choose paint, and I'm going to show you how to do both terrains, which equates to the AutoTile feature, and then also I'll show you how to paint in the physics layers, which will represent where if your player lands on or collides with something, they can stay on top of it, or they'll collide and therefore not go through it. So real quick, I'll go back over here and click on the tile set, physics layers, I'll add an element, and recently I've just been putting all of the stuff that you can collide with in the world on layer 1. And for terrain sets, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add one terrain set. And I'm just going to call it grass platform. And I'm going to select a layer just below it that contrasts with both brown and green, and you'll see why in a second. So the easier one, I'll go ahead and I'll paint on the physics layer real quick. And what just popped up right here in the middle of this interface is basically the shape that's going to represent what your character can collide with. So the first time you click on one of these tabs, it populates the tab in the background. And the second time you click on it, it takes this shape that I've done with these corners right here, and it creates a physics boundary that your player can collide with or stand on top of. So for any of the tiles that look very similar to this one, I can just click on it afterwards, and we now have the physics layers drawn. And for anything that's got a slightly different shape, I gotta go in real quick, and I need to adjust that physics polygon, and then click on it again. Pretty simple. First few times I did it, I forgot that I had to click after making the shape, and then I was having trouble keeping track of what needed one and which one was going where. And here, because I need 2 polygons, I went from just editing the corners to clicking the Add Polygon tool. And I'm going to zoom in real quick. I'll close the polygon. I'll make sure I'm just editing it. And I'll click on all these ones that had 2 at the top corners. And then I'll just go for the ones that have them on the left-hand side. I'll remove this polygon real quick. Click it again. Click, 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 click. And I see one of the ones that I forgot. So got this one and this one, and I realized I forgot these guys. One, two, all good to go. Save real quick. Cool. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint on the roles for the AutoTile. So, terrains set 0, grass platform, and first I'll click through and enable all of my tiles that can be used for AutoTile, and then I'll start going left to right. Basically what I'm indicating is this tile is going to be drawn by the engine if it is bordered only on the bottom by another tile. This one will only be drawn if it's bordered on the top and the bottom. And this one will be drawn only if it's bordered on the top. This one will exist by itself, so if I ever draw a tile by itself, there will just be this one guy right here. And very similarly, these tiles are set up so that if they are bordered on the octant that is pink, then this particular tile will be drawn if there's nothing down and to the right, if there is something to the bottom or to the right. This is my first platform tile set that I've made, and if you scrutinize it a little bit, you notice that it looks a lot like Super Mario World, which is where I got a lot of the inspiration for this one. For something that's done in this style, for me, it was easy to knock out a decent volume very quickly, and it gives me something to work with as I'm, progressing forward and working on the programming of this thing. Eventually, I'm going to go with something that looks a little bit different, but this allows me to start working out the nuts and bolts and bits and pieces as I'm running through this with y'all. I accidentally drew a spot that should have been, so right-clicking will take away that purple stuff. Done. Almost forgot about these guys. And I think that should be it. So let me go ahead and save real quick. And I'll go TileMap, terrains, click on the grass platform, and just see what's done. So straight across, no problem. Up and down, one by itself. I did warn y'all this is my first tile set, so I noticed that some of my stuff looks a little bit wonky. Yeah, so whenever I remake these, I'll probably clean up the width on these tiles right there. So it's usable, it's not terrible. But I'll go ahead and for now, what I'll do is I'll erase this one, and I'll show you my process for creating a platform map. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one layer, and eventually I'm going to save it as its own node, but this is just to illustrate the process for right now. I'm going to duplicate it a few times, going from the very, very back and background items all the way to the forefront, which is where I'm going to have these grass tiles. So to delete all these dudes, I'm just going to click on the rectangle, eraser. I'm going to delete that stuff. I'm going to bring my TileMap layer behind those items so that you can see as I'm drawing. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So in the tree, I'm going to click on TileMap layer. I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate, 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 duplicate. And I'll start with the very back. In this case, it's going to be clouds. And these ones are heavily inspired by another tutorial. I think the guy's name was Brackley or Bracky. I'll take a look at that one and I'll fix it. I'll talk over this later on maybe. Bracky. And they've got a tutorial for how to create a 2D platformer, and one of the tiles that they got in is these receding cloud items. So in the very front is white, then light blue, dark blue, dark blue, dark blue, purple, and then ending with orange. I thought that look was really cool, so I went ahead and I copied it. But for giggles, I also went ahead and I mirrored it, did upside down clouds as well. I like the look, especially the orange on pink. So got the pencil. I'm going to zoom out real quick so I can see the extent of the area that I'm working with in drawing. And just going through and left clicking on the map. I've got one that's out of the boundary. Doesn't really matter too much. Just do whatever makes you feel good. So now I'm going to do the mirroring pieces of the clouds over here. And because of the way I've got these tiles set up, I can click this anywhere, and as long as the boundary between the white clouds and the blue clouds line up, I can put them wherever, because the tiles start and stop with the 1 pixel of each other. You can see how I got the light blue within 1 pixel of the dark and blue right there, and it is copied across all those different colors. So the very back layer is done. Now I'm going to add the next level of background, which is just mountains that have gone lower contrast and more blue contained within them. And I'll just go ahead and throw these guys right here. Just draw them in. And I'll go to the next layer. And these ones are moving closer to green with higher contrast. I'll make sure that you don't accidentally see the clouds in one of those gaps in the mountains. I'll throw a little bit of an offset. Maybe I'll come in from this side. And I'll erase those once I'm done. After I do this last closest to green color vibe with the mountains, indicating that these mountains are the closest. So real quick, I'll click the rectangle, the eraser, and go to the other side. Basically, I'm going to use that boundary that's contained when you first open a new project to be my boundary for the map I'm drawing with y'all. And going back up to this last layer. That's good. Go for the clouds right here. No, just one. Okay, cool. Now I'll go to TileMap layer 5. And once again, I'll be using the grass platformer that I already set up for AutoTile. So I'll click once again to Terrains, Grass Platform. And I'll zoom out a little bit. And I'll make sure that I don't have eraser clicked. And this time I'll do pen, rectangle. Yeah. So this is just getting started. If you ever played Super Mario Brothers or something action platformer, you just got random items that you can stand on floating in the air. Maybe you want to just have a point where the level pushes up out of the ground, random things in the air, whatever you feel like. You do what makes you happy. Can't think of anything to write that's not a cuss word, so I guess I'm not going to write anything more than just doing a big donut right here. But that was how to create a tile map, how to import your tiles that we use for the map, how to set up AutoTile and physics, my process for giving yourself background items, and then also we can go ahead and test this and see if I messed up with how everything is placed. Real quick, I'll click on the It's weird. I guess I forgot to add a character body during the last episode, so I'll add a character body real quick. Drag it up there. and put anything associated with the character underneath of it in the tree. Then I'll take my character body and I'll choose this option, move mode, and I'll just put this dude right here. So I know what's going to happen. We'll go ahead and I'll press play on this node or this scene. Sorry. And as you can see, this shows everything, including the animated sprite that I probably didn't want to have turned on. But yeah, this doesn't really work too well in a game. You know, you're too zoomed out. It's kind of hard to see what's going on whenever you got smaller items that will be included on it. So I guess as the last item, I'll show you what could be part of the next video, where I'll quickly add a camera 2D. I'll zoom out, and you see this is still going to cover a pretty big area. So I'll click on the camera, I go to zoom, I'll set it for 4 for now. And it's centered on the character, which is good. And I'll also go ahead and put the limits. My guess is this is going from 0 to 1280. So left, 0, right, 1280, top, 0. On the x-axis, it goes positive going right. But in this game, on the y-axis, it goes positive going down. So if I scroll down here real quick and I say this is about where I want the camera to stop going, yeah, I'll just put 400. Why not? So, zooming out real quick, and let's see what we see. Close that real quick. Oh well. It's probably got to do with the reset animation. So if I go here real quick, go to reset, and I'll turn off the visibility for the second one. Save it. Press play, and darn it. Oh well, I'll figure that one out by the next video. But that one's not going to be too much of a deal breaker this time around. Anyway, you got any thoughts, comments, suggestions, anything to say? Go ahead and throw it in the comments below and I'll try to get back to you. Otherwise, looking forward to make my next video for you where I throw a script behind that character sprite and we start to run and jump around the map. Y'all take care. Bye.